There's a million reasons to prompt someone to engage with you, but you want to make it as easy as possible. And you want to make it as easy as possible for them to repeat the action. Because the other thing that's, I think, gets overlooked, and I think is the most important thing, is people, when they come across something, aren't necessarily at that exact moment have the time to engage with that thing fully, right? Oh, this is really interesting. I would love to learn more about Mike's podcast. And then we all do it. We go, okay, I'm going to remember this is his Instagram account, and I'm going to come back to this. And like an hour later, you've been hit with 10,000 other pieces of information. You can remember, is it 1 L or 2 L? And yeah, and you never find it again. But if you can get something into your inbox, into your DM, the thing that you want, then you can get back to it. Like creating a to-do list on the fly in your inbox of things that you're interested in. And so you want to get it somewhere where they can remember it and act on it at any time that they're ready to, because that's really what it's all about. Be there when they're ready, or prep them for when they have that moment.
Mike's got the hat, the AI kind. Unlocking power in business you'll find. Cut through the hype, explore the tech. Every week, new ideas to check. All 10 leads us on a digital quest. AI secrets he'll always invest. Tune in tight, don't miss a beat. Knowledge groove, keep you on your feet. Listen up to the AI flow. Business growth, here we go. Cutting edge insights, that's the plan. With the AI hat, you'll understand.
Greetings, program. Welcome back to the AI Hat podcast, where I selfishly use this time to pick the brains of experts at harnessing the power of AI across all areas of your business, from streamlining operations and boosting productivity to gaining a competitive edge and driving explosive growth. Oh, you get to learn too. Subscribe to be shown how to prepare yourself and your brand for this AI revolution and come out ahead. Now look, are you spending hours mainly responding to social media comments while your potential customers slip away because they never clicked that bio link? What if every comment could instantly become a direct message with your personalized link, automatically turning engagement into revenue while you focus on creating? Well, here's the thing. Most solopreneurs are trapped in manual social media management, responding to comments one by one and hoping someone will take action. Meanwhile, AI can analyze every interaction, craft authentic responses, and convert casual commenters into paying customers, all without you touching your phone. Just imagine your social media working like a 24/7 sales assistant that never sleeps and never misses an opportunity. Well, today, I'm excited to introduce Jeff Dwoskin, founder of Stampede Social, and a fascinating example of how unconventional backgrounds create breakthrough solutions. Jeff spent years as a comedian, understanding what makes audiences tick, and he's channeled that insight into building AI tools that don't just automate responses, they amplify authentic connections. He's helping creators transform their social engagement into consistent revenue streams. He's here to show you exactly how AI can become your most valuable business partner. Hey, Jeff, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike. It's so great to be here.
So glad to have you. We've been able to have some conversations a couple times over the years, but this is the first time we really dived into the AI world, which these days is strange. Wow, have we never talked about AI before? Yeah, but this is cool. You went from comedy stages to building these AI-powered social media tools. Let's start with that. How did your entertainment background kind of shape your understanding of what audiences really want from these kinds of automated interactions?
Yeah, great question. Being a stand-up comic, you're up there alone. It's an interesting kind of dynamic that you have with the audience. It's immediate, and so it doesn't feel as alone as, say, social media can feel. When you say something, you either get the reaction you wanted or you don't, and you find out right away, and you adjust quickly. hopefully. And the next time when you do stand-up comedy, it's doing the show over and over again. So I've done over 1,000 stand-up comedy shows. So you're doing the same jokes over and over again, and you learn and you adapt. And so like there's one joke where I know I'm going to deliver this punchline and I'm going to grab this water and I'm going to take a drink because I know I have enough time, because I can predict that the audience will laugh long enough because it's happened enough. And you start to get this feel where you can read the room, you can understand the room. It's like this weird energy that you get where you know when you're connecting and when you're not, and you're being able to adjust. Originally, we adapted that into the world of Twitter when it was Twitter before X. And so it was a similar thing it was something called #Roundup, where we did these word prompt games, #marriage in 4 words or something like that. And so you start to learn, okay, what's going to drive the attention of people, what's going to get the retweets, the likes, and all that good stuff to help you potentially go viral. So it becomes like this innate thing where you start to understand engagement in this unconventional way, where you're delivering it and you get a real strong feel for how someone's going to react to you while you're saying it, or as you prepared to execute it, and then you execute it knowing pretty well how someone will react to it. Doesn't mean you're always right, but and that's the fun part. But that's just rinse, wash, repeat type stuff.
Got it. One of my favorite comics is Taylor Tomlinson, and her best friend is also a comic and goes on the road with her. And I'd swear he's your doppelganger. I'm like, aren't you touring with Taylor right now? Why are we talking? But I love how they do a lot of crowd work. I don't know if that was something that you worked on when you were on stage, or was it pretty much just your set?
As time evolved, I would interact with the audience. And one of the things I always did was I always recorded every show I did. Sometimes video, but always audio. So I could hear things. Because the interesting thing about stand-up comedy, when you're delivering, it's the words, it's your confidence, and it's the pauses, and it's how you deliver something. Sometimes it's the literal pacing of how you say something. And you can say something and it not work, and then you can say something later and it works. And you have to capture it on tape, because you're in like this weird euphoric state when you're on stage. And so if I step off stage and you say, Jeff, what did you just do? You go, I don't know. It's like you become like another person, because you have to, because it's like you know how it is, like when you're on stage, you're delivering a speech, you're on stage, Mike Allton, right? It's like there's a version of you that is commanding this audience. And so I would engage with people, and then sometimes I would just turn those into bits where I could repeat that, or I could talk to someone in the front, and I know this is going to go because I've crafted it. So it looks like I'm engaging with the audience, but I know they're going to say this, and I'm going to deliver this joke almost regardless of what they say. But it gives me the opportunity to just be silly based on, and make it a little different based on what they say. As time went on, you start to get this kind of feeling, and you can trust yourself to immediately react to something. And, that's where, when you're engaging with the audience, it becomes a little easier and becomes more fun, and you do it. I don't try and fill too much of my act up with audience, just pure audience working, because I think that can be lazy. People are there to hear my material, not the random things that can happen. But as a comedian, I think it's important to be able to capitalize on the random things that happen and make it a moment, because those are the things that make that unique. So it's like, that's never going to happen again. The waitress who walks in front, drops her whole tray on the guy that gets spilled, like that will never happen again, right? So it's your time to create this moment and then everyone's going to remember that moment. They're not going to remember anything else, but that's what will stay with them forever. And you could bump into that person 5 years later, goes, oh my God, you remember? And yes, I do. So.
Yeah. Well, you're right. It's almost like you're having an out-of-body experience, I think, when you're on stage, because part of your consciousness is just paying attention to what you're doing, like almost behind and down and judging you. But then, you get off, and it's so hard to remember all those things. And so that's why it's great to have a recording. But I ask that because what that looks like is improvisation. And when we're bringing it back to the point of this conversation today, using AI and automation to help us with social media messages and DMs and that sort of thing, it might seem daunting at first, I think, to some solopreneurs that, wow, every conversation I have is different. How could I possibly automate this? How could AI possibly do this? But to your point, when you get down to it, most of the time, yeah, the individual words might vary a little bit, but the gist of the conversation is probably the same most of the time. And even when it's not, you can have a direction you want to go with that conversation because you've done it 100 times and you know that's the direction you want to go, regardless of what the individual says, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Sometimes when you know enough, you can lead them to water to make
Right.
something feel a little more organic while you're having that conversation. So it's like you coming in fully loaded, and I think that's part of the finesse and kind of the mastery of any kind of conversation where you're having it, whether it be sales or anything, where you're feeding enough to hopefully get them to walk into it, and then you have the response or a version of that response ready to go.
Yeah, so let's talk about why link in bio then. It's a problem because I think it directly relates to what you're just talking about. You've called it a dead end. And I wonder if you could walk us through why traditional social media conversion methods are failing solopreneurs and what AI, in your opinion, can do differently.
Well, a combination of AI and technology. So
Yeah.
the issue with link in bio, and I'm not saying don't have a link in your bio, definitely have a link in your bio. The issue with the concept of sending people to your link in bio when they're on, say, a post or a reel or something like that, while they're already engaging with you, specifically like on Instagram, like, well, you're reading and say, hey, or sometimes they'll put like the URL, which is unclickable and sometimes even not even copy and pasteable, or they'll go to my link in bio. So what you're asking them to do is say, all right, I'm already here, but we're asking you to go to the bio, assuming they all know what we're even talking about, right? The full audience. And then find the link in the bio and then hope they can find what they want in one of those links, right? Because sometimes it's just a picture of the whole feed again, or did they update it? So
Mhm.
the percentage of people that will walk away from a post to actually execute that is minuscule. And so the idea is to get them to be able to engage on the post itself and remove that friction. Comment below, DM gets sent to you automatically with the link that you requested for the product that you're interested in. And then the rest takes care of itself with driving the sale and engaging with that customer. But that's the thing. It's about making it easier for your customer to get what you're talking about in this particular post. Maybe it's a sign up. Maybe it's your new book for a webinar. Maybe it's to register for a conference. Maybe it's to get your book or pre-order your book or order this thing or listen to my podcast. There's a million reasons to prompt someone to engage with you, but you want to make it as easy as possible. And you want to make it as easy as possible for them to repeat the action. Because the other thing I think, gets overlooked and I think is the most important thing is people, when they come across something, aren't necessarily at that exact moment have the time to engage with that thing fully, right? Oh, this is really interesting. I would love to learn more about Mike's podcast. And then we all do it. We go, okay, I'm going to remember this is his Instagram account and I'm going to come back to this. And like an hour later, you've been hit with 10,000 other pieces of information you can remember. Is it 1L or 2Ls? Yeah. And you never find it again. But if you can get something into your inbox, into your DM, the thing that you want, then you can get back to it. Like creating a to-do list on the fly in your inbox of things that you're interested in. If you come across my podcast, there's a good chance you don't at that exact moment as interested in you are in listening to the guy from Chips. Yeah, maybe you don't have that 45 minutes at that moment, but you will. I know I'm going to go on a walk tomorrow, but you want to get it somewhere where they can remember it and act on it at any time that they're ready to, because that's really what it's all about. Be there when they're ready, or prep them for when they have have that moment.
This is such a powerful technique. Jen Herman, author of Instagram for Dummies and probably the world's foremost blogger on Instagram. We talked at length about this on a webinar. There's so many benefits to this kind of a tactic. For starters, by asking people to comment on a post, you're creating engagement on that Instagram post, which is going to allow it to get more reach and visibility with other audiences. And then when you direct message with somebody on Instagram, they're going to be more likely to see your next post and your next post because of that intimacy with you, with them on that platform. So it's fantastic for your Instagram profile growth overall. So strongly encourage it. So if you're a solopreneur, this is something you can start doing manually today. Instead of telling people to go to your link in bio to get to a podcast episode, which I do and I shouldn't be doing, tell them to drop a comment, just give them a word, whatever to drop, and then you'll DM them the link. And you can do that manually, obviously to a point. Once it gets past, 10, 20 comments a day, that's probably taking up too much of your time. If you're an Agorapulse user, you could have that set up as a saved reply. So you'd see them in your inbox and you could reply a little bit faster than you could on your phone. But obviously at some point, you're going to want to bring in a tool like yours, Jeff. So I think this is a good point to talk to us about Stampede Social and how that would help a solopreneur in this kind of a situation.
Yeah. So Stampede Social, thank you for the plug and that pivot.
Yeah.
It's the simplest
and he's
way.
not paying me to say this, folks.
It's the simplest way to turn Instagram engagement and Facebook as well into these measurable results that we're looking for. The nice thing about it is, even if it's only 5 a day, or you're only getting a few a day because you're a smaller account and growing, the thing is nice to wake up in the morning and see that some of these DMs went out while you were sleeping, because it's also about reaction time. I think when someone comments, it's within seconds they get that DM because that's what they wanted. That's the reason they aren't going to go to your link in bio, is because you know how we live in the world where every video is like, do you have the best viral hook? If you don't spend, and then there's a new thing about like that pause for people my age, because it would take a second for the video to start. So it was normal. And that half a second is like, well, that's why you don't have any views. It's that half a second. And it's like, what? And so you think like timing is like, if I want to watch this thing and I want it, you want to know that you have that right away. So yes, it's totally reasonable if someone DMs you or comments at 1 a.m. and you wake up at 9 a.m., then you reply, sure, that's totally fine and should be. But maybe they're in a different time zone. To them, it's 3 p.m., right? So, or whatever. But the whole idea is the idea of it making it so it's just working 24/7 while you're doing whatever you're doing. You're on at a meeting, you're sleeping, whatever it is. Let that engagement happen. Let people get what they want when they want it. That's the kind of the magic and the beauty of the automated link sending to the DMs.
I think the other layer of complexity that people need to start thinking about, like we're recording this, it's late August. It was probably just a month ago, I think, that I decided personally, I'm going to start focusing on Instagram as my primary channel. So I'm still growing that channel. It's been around for a long time, but it wasn't focused on AI for solopreneurs. So this is something I'm realizing today I need to start doing, because each time you do a new post where you want to send them to an external resource, and so you prompt them as a CTA to comment, that's one more thing that you're going to have to remember how you needed to respond to that manually. It's fine if you've got a single post, you can have that response that you can copy and paste from your phone, put it into a DM. But man, once you get 3, 4, or 5 of those going, and somebody stumbles on a post that you did 2 weeks ago and they comment podcast because they want to link to your podcast, now you've got to shuffle that out. So I definitely think having a tool like yours for that automation is fabulous. But I know your platform also includes AI and AI comment analysis. What are the specific insights in this case, for instance, that an AI is looking for? How does that translate into better business decisions for the creators who are using it?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the cool things about comments that you get is that you're doing like surveys or research on the fly. Conversations and the replies to the conversations can be gold. And so what our tool does is allow you to either just download all the comments, but we also have a built-in AI analysis tool that'll read the comments on a particular post and then give you just some feedback on that. And so what that allows you to do in general is just understand what people are talking about. So I worked at a fast food company once for a while, and like the comments would come in, and it was important. We'd re-release products based on the fact that people were always talking about it. But it's hard to keep a pulse on all that as it's happening. So the idea of comment analysis, a lot of times, it's about changing the focus, or it's partially the focus of some of your posts to start these conversations. So Mike, you might start a very specific conversation about ChatGPT. What do you guys think of ChatGPT? I'll just say X.0. So, because they'll probably change 50 times since you do it. So we won't date this by me saying the number that it's at right now. But when you say, hey, what do you guys think? And then people can, oh, this is what I love, this is what I hate, this is what I love, this is what I hate. And then you can take that information, you could analyze and go, okay, here's the common themes. This is the kind of the basic sentiment of what's being said here. Or you can then take all those comments as well and pop them into a blog maker. You could turn it into a blog. Hey, I want to write this blog, or I wrote this blog, fill it in with some of these comments as a third-party validation of what people are saying. So it's about having access to information that normally you wouldn't have access to, because Stampede Social collects all these comments that come in for every Instagram post, reel, or live event. And most other platforms, you can see the comments, but it's not giving it to you as like a full database or something that you can download and use as you wish. So in that sense, it gives you this whole new kind of way to collect data, come at your posts slightly different, or some of your posts, and then go from there to mine this information that normally you wouldn't have had access to.
Love that, because then I can pull that into Notion and do all kinds of incredible activities with it. I'm doing that right now in a lot of other areas, but I'm wondering how you balance automation like that with maintaining an authentic human voice, maintaining that genuine connection with your audience. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, the comments analysis that's just analyzing their comments. We do have a AI comment reply tool. We call it a co-writer. Our thing with AI, and when you use it to write things or do things, it should be kind of a helper, not a from scratcher. Does that make sense? It use what you have and make it smarter. So our AI comment response tool, like if you go in, you can set your tone and voice. So like I have mine set up as a witty comedian, right? And then as comments come in, what happens is with our tool is it reads the full caption of your post and then creates a response to the comment in context to the caption in your tone and voice. And then you can edit it. Everything has to be manually sent because this is meant to help you write it. We call it the what do I say to my 50th fire emoji comment, because it can create smart responses to just emojis or non-specific comments as well, because it is important to engage. You should respond to every comment that comes in.
Yeah.
It does help overall. People love seeing people comment, a real comment, not just kind of a generic thing. So we kind of help, and then you can edit it and you can send it. And so it ends up being that feature of Stampede Social, or all the other cool stuff that Stampede Social does, always ends up being everyone's favorite tool, because it's really, really helpful to craft something. We don't auto send it because you can't trust. That like AI can be delusional sometimes. So you got to always check it. So it is your social media. It is your social media account. So yeah, so it crafts it. That's why we call it AI, like a co-writer. So it helps you craft it. You can edit it, and then you can send it. So
that's smart. That's so smart, because obviously I'm having conversations all the time, because I've got one foot in the social media world, one foot in the AI world, and people are always talking about, man, I wish I could just automate my social media. I could publish the content and I would automatically post to all my channels. I'm like, no, you don't wish for that. That is not going to be your friend. You can absolutely use AI to help you create those assets, but you want to look at them first. Like I've been setting up Notion where I pull the podcast episode into Notion, and Notion will automatically create some AI generated summaries. It'll pull out quotes and create tweets and that sort of thing. But those aren't going out of Notion without me looking at them first. That would be bad.
Oh,
So
yeah,
appreciate that you've got
100%.
that.
I use for my show notes for a podcast that I do. I take with Otter AI, I use it to transcribe the audio, right? So I have the transcript, and then I take that into, funny thing about Otter, if you go to export something as a TXT file, it goes, are you sure? Are you sure? You could do this all right here. You can talk to your thing. I'm good, thanks. And I created a GPT, a custom GPT.
Okay.
I guess anyone could use it, but only I probably know it exists. But I trained it to do all the things I was using. I create the show notes, the caption, the highlights, everything you were just saying, like they use Notion for. I just did it, and then it just walks me through like 15 different things that I told it to make for me. And then I have all those show notes, and I use different version to create the YouTube chapters and stuff like that. So yeah, so we just tangented randomly on AI, but yeah, but this is a good example, like where you're using a core set of data to create something that you still have to check, but it makes at least the AI, I think, a little smarter and less delusional when you're giving it the thing that you're basing the thing on. And so it's not like you're saying, write me a bio of Jeff Dwoskin just randomly, and it goes and it gives me accolades of things maybe I never did. Versus dropping in a bio that I gave you and say, hey, make this 3 sentences instead of the 3 pages that Jeff submitted. So that kind of thing. So then that to me is like a good way to use like these AI tools too, whichever one's of choice. So, but yeah,
that's exactly what I'm doing. Yeah, I take your bio that you give me as a guest, because I have you fill out a form, and I pair that with your LinkedIn or a website or whatever URL I can give to Claude. I've got a setup where Claude is helping me create the show notes or the run a show for every show before I do the interview. And it knows I want to hype up the guest. So it's looking for accolades and important things and tying it to my audience. And people compliment me on the bios as I read them, like, wow, Mike, that's the best introduction I've ever heard. I need to bring you everywhere. I'm like, hey, you did all the work. Claude did all the writing. I just read it on camera. But I love how we're combining now automation with really smart use of AI at key points to really help us. One of the things that I think a lot of solopreneurs aren't doing enough, but could do with AI is competitive analysis. I think they believe that it's not something they can afford, but I'm wondering what kind of intelligence is your AI gathering about competitors, and how actionable is it for this kind of an audience?
So our tool, Stampede Social, has a competitive analysis feature. And so what it does is you put in the Instagram account of somebody whose Instagram you want to take a peek at. And so, for example, I have a pop culture podcast, so I might put in smart list, right? And so what it does is it goes and it reads the captions, a good handful of those captions from that account. And then it comes back with content themes, and it tells you, oh, they're really into celebrity interviews and lighthearted banter, and these are the type of references they're making, and the tone and personality of that account, and who that target audience is most likely, the types of call to actions that they're doing on that account, sentiment, if there's any trending topics or consistent things that they're talking about, looks for brand messaging, emotional appeal, any promotion that they're doing, gives you a summary. Here's the hashtags they're using, and then it gives you some competitive challenge ideas. That's a nice way of saying, here's some posts you could do to compete with them, or not necessarily compete with them, but here's some ideas for you to put yourself maybe closer to the game, so people can get a feel. So with competitive analysis, you don't want to copy, but it's good to understand what people are doing, and sometimes that can spark ideas for you. When you see what other people are doing, you can come up with your own unique spin on things, or different kind of themes that you can explore, or things you didn't even think to go, oh, I have that information. Why don't I ever tap into that? Things like that.
Love that. I couldn't agree more. Folks, we've had competitive analysis tools for a long time. We've had it inside of Agorapulse. You could add Facebook pages or other kinds of profiles that you want to monitor, but it's always how are they doing in terms of follower growth and engagement? There's high level metrics, not the kind of deep analysis that Jeff is talking about. I am taking all kinds of notes here and things that I'm already going to start applying today, literally, to my Instagram profile. And I've got a bunch more questions, but before we do, a quick word from our sponsor. This episode of AI for Business Leaders, the AI Hat podcast, is brought to you by Magi. Tired of juggling multiple AI subscriptions and trying to figure out which tool to use and when? Magi simplifies AI for businesses by offering access to all the leading language models and image and video generators for one low price. With Magi, you can create custom instructions to personalize AI for every business need and use them across all LLMs, including ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and even DeepSeek. No more building custom GPTs or gems that are limited to just one platform. Magi also lets you create customized workspaces for your entire team, giving everyone in your organization access to the same AI assistants and tools and prompts. Ready to streamline your AI workflow and empower your team? Tap the link in the show notes to visit Magi today to learn more. And now, back to the rest of today's episode. So Jeff, let's talk more about DMs and the automated DM system. We were talking and joking before we started recording that there's a big difference between automation and artificial intelligence. What we were talking about before with DMs was really just pure automation, right? You program a scenario where if this is the post, if somebody leaves this comment, this is the direct message we're going to send them. Is there an AI enhancement within your tool that's going to come in there and further that conversation?
No, it's like a real kind of simple way to engage, get someone the information they want, and then we're done. You know what I mean? It's not one of those things that's going to bother you every 15 minutes. But the nice thing about it is, and the important thing is to get them into your DMs, right? So as excited as I was about stories when they did the URL link, because I used to have like 10,000 followers. So that it's like, I always said, don't use that. Use Stampede Social, have them comment and get the link because, well, a few reasons. One is you want things to be trackable. So you asked like what some of the stuff the AI does with Stampede Social is, you know, I come from a company that used to work at this company called 4C Results, and it was a whole analytics company. And so data doesn't lie. And so if you can really understand data beyond the surface level, then you can really start to help move your business forward. And so that's one of the cool things about Stampede Social and the data that we collect. And so the idea with a story, for example, get them to comment, get them into your DM. One, now we know that they're an engaged user, right? We know that they are interested in your thing. And more importantly, they're in your DM. So you can follow up with them on a personal level, right? So, hey, did you like the episode? I've generated a lot of just on my podcast, Instagram, you know, where someone will get the link and I'll send it to them and they'll start a conversation with me about what that show meant to them. Not necessarily my podcast, but the show that we're talking about in the podcast. So you can, and then they'll show up again. They'll constantly, like those become the super fans. So you want to be able to get people into your DMs and you want to be able to then nurture those relationships. So it's not just about the transaction, but the transaction can be the nice, simple way to get someone to engage with you. There's something magical when you're in someone's DM. You know what I mean? It's like you feel a different connection with that person, especially if they talk to you non-automated wise. You know what I mean? You know, it's like, oh, this is real. I'm talking to the host of this podcast that I listen to, or I'm talking to the person that runs this account. And that forms a different type of bond that you can't get through any of these other things. So using automation, AI, all that stuff, but at some point, the human touch and the human level of a conversation or a connection is always going to be extremely important for long term.
Could not agree more and appreciate that clarification. You mentioned data. Are you weaving AI into how you present reports and data to your users? And if so, how's that working out?
Yes. So one of the things like under the covers of Stampede Social is we're collecting every comment that comes in. We're tracking every DM that you send. There's all your Instagram post stats, all this stuff. And so you can download all these things as raw data and you can do whatever you want with it. But we're starting to really build in some tools where you can look at it visually and understand it and have it analyzed. Oh, 90% of these things that went on a Sunday, or things that you wouldn't necessarily know or realize until the AI can find those things for you. It's like, oh, there's a lot of reactions in this direction to the things that you say. And like, oh, you're right. You can find patterns that us as humans maybe tend to ignore or choose to ignore, and it can pull those out for you.
Fascinating. Now, for some of the folks listening, they're really focused on creating whatever it is that they're creating. They may be feeling a little bit overwhelmed with social media overall. What do you think is the first, let's say, AI-powered automation or just automation that they should implement to try to see some immediate results?
It's simple as just creating a campaign to drive people to whatever maybe you want them to do. There's a few combinations of things you can do. Like Stampede Social not only does the DM automations, but it can do has winner selection tools, so you can turn any post into a giveaway, Instagram post, reel or live, and then you can track fan generated content as well. So it's about creating moments of engagement where you can really connect with your audience or have them give that you can then react to. And I think sometimes that's automation. I love the automation, but every post doesn't need to be about that. Yeah. Some posts can be about a conversation, start a conversation, engagement starters, because then you can start to collect that information. One of the things that we do when we talk about data and understanding who's engaging with you, because we're collecting all of these comments and everything, we're able to, in real time, give you a top fan report. So like I can look at my thing and go, oh, Mike Allton commented 50 times on my posts.
That guy's a stalker.
He really enjoys my stuff. And so you can download and understand who's engaging with you. And then you can do things that can then give you ideas to say, oh, I'm going to create something where I'm going to call out the super fans, or you can dive deeper into what this person is engaging with you with, and that can help you understand or make sure when you see them comment again that they get maybe 10 extra seconds of your attention as a response because they're really, really engaged. But that's a way to also build up other people into that, get them into the higher on that top fan list, is constantly be engaging with people and acknowledging people that are commenting on your posts and reels and Instagram lives. So it's all about engagement. It's as much as we talk about AI and automation and everything, it's really still about you still got to create things that people want to react to. So that's the interesting thing about and why DM automation works so great is you're giving people a way to engage with you. And so the reason most people are lurkers is the same reason why if you're at a party and you don't go up to someone, there's no clear way for you to start to engage. You know what I mean? And some people are more introverted and can't, maybe so they'll just stand there, right? But when you come to somebody and says, hey, you want this full episode, comment Stampede, and we'll send you a link to this amazing conversation between Jeff and Mike. And now they, oh, okay, now I know how to get it. I have a path. You gave me a path. And I think we sometimes overlook that as a thing that we need to do. We go, oh, well, I posted this picture of Jeff and Mike talking, and then the caption says we're talking about AI. I just assume, since it's a picture of them on a podcast, that they'll look at that and know I want them to listen to my podcast. You know what I mean? But they're just seeing it, right? So if you don't tell them you want them to react in a particular way, whether it be a commented DM or, hey, I'm asking you a question about the latest Claude update, or, hey, comment, this to enter this contest. I'm giving away a free AI workshop, whatever it is. People like to have that path, understand that bridge, how to get to complete that final mile to get to where you want them to go. That's why most people are like, oh, I don't know. Are people even looking at my thing? And then this is the way to do it. Give them something to react to very specifically. Ask a question, tell them to comment, whatever it might be. Whatever your thing is, you do you. But that's, I think, where people miss the mark on any social post.
I love this picture you're painting of people building or even stacking different kinds of tactics and automations and AI to start to generate more and more engagement, start to be able to identify who your top fans are. I don't know who my top fans are today. I have no idea. I have no way of knowing that, right? But when you've got access to that data and you're doing these things that create those inroads and those opportunities for people to become a visible top fan, you know what you're doing? You're identifying your top potential customers. These are the people who have now come to know, like, and trust you, Mr. Solopreneur and Miss Creator. And they're the ones that are going to want to work with you because they've liked 50 of your posts and they've listened to 50 of your podcasts and they know what you can do. And when they reach out, when they're finally ready to reach out, A, you're going to recognize them, and B, that's going to be the easiest sale of your life because they just want to know where to hand their credit card at that point. That's the optimum. That's the ideal picture. What's the opposite? What are people doing wrong? Where are people going wrong when it comes to AI and automation? What's a mistake you think that they should really try to avoid?
Along the same lines of giving people that path, that bridge, is people bury it, right? So people say, oh, no one commented or something, right? And we're like, well, you had literally 7 paragraphs of information. At the very bottom of that 7th paragraph, you said, comment whatever, or comment below. Let me know your favorite travel destination. I go, people don't read. So, and then think of it on a phone too. What multiple paragraphs or even one long paragraph looks like on a phone, right? It's buries anything underneath it. So call to actions need to be at the top. I'm not saying it has to be the first line, but short sentence, call to action, then finish it. If they're that interested, they'll read all your stuff. But you got to let them know right away if you want them to take an action, what that action is. It's beautiful. I'm saying, like, I love what everyone of you wrote, but no one's reading it. Right. And like,
we're saying it with love.
I'm saying it with love. And so you got to let them know and then write whatever you want. Because that's important now too with the SEO and it's sharing in Google, especially Instagram posts. You still want all that stuff there, but let's be honest, it's very tiny, that area. And so you got to get it right at the top. You got to let people know what you want from them other than just reading that caption. So that to me, I think is one mistake that people make when they're looking to up their engagement.
That is a huge tip, folks. And again, I'm taking notes because that's something I'm as guilty of as anybody. I'm a classically trained marketer. I put the CTA at the end and I should know better. Looking ahead, Jeff, I'm just wondering how you see AI changing this creator economy. What should the solopreneurs like myself and those listening be really thinking about and preparing for to stay competitive? And I know with AI, we can't go far out, but maybe just the next like 12 to 18 months. What do you see?
Yeah, I think AI is advanced during this conversation, which makes it a little, it does make it gives you a little anxiety. Like you start to worry about every day. You scroll on TikTok, it's like every AI influencer. It's like, well, you got to do this one now. And now it's a Nana Banana and like, say goodbye to Photoshop. And it's like, it's going to always be a balance of making sure that people feel what they're seeing is real and using AI to enhance and make your job better, whether it be messaging and stuff. I think it's always going to be just that balance of how people react to the content you're putting out, and pushing the AI too far may detract from that, but it's going to be A/B testing along the way, see what happens. I'm a big fan of AI. I think everyone should use it. I think it's an inevitable thing. We all have to embrace it, but I think it's about how can we make our lives easier using it? How can we make our job easier? How can I do 10 things instead of 5 things in the same amount of time? And those are the things that I think to sort of stay on top of. Pick the ones that work for you and just go for it. There's always gonna be something that makes a little bit or better image than the chat GPT or something, but it's like, are you going to bounce? It's like, I think it's just a matter of settling in and not getting overwhelmed. If I see one more of those, you want to be an AI expert in 28 days, here's 50 things you'll do in one a day. It's like, It's like, find the one that works for you. Like you mentioned Claude, I'm a big ChatGPT guy. So I think it's just a matter of figuring out what works and being able to pivot. That's the thing. It's like, don't fall in love with love. Don't get too caught up in one thing that you're not willing to shift to something else that might be better for what you're going to do or need it to do for you. I think that's just the key. Keep an open mind, but just keep moving forward.
Such powerful advice, Jeff. Thank you so much. I know folks are going to go back and listen to this again, take the transcript, drop it into their own Gemini and ChatGPT or Claude AI assistant, say, how do I fix my Instagram based on all of Jeff's knowledge? So thank you for that. For folks who do want to learn more about you, or maybe they got more questions, where should they go?
You can email me at jeff@stampede.social, go to stampede.social. Yeah, those probably the two best and easiest way. So
Well, that's all the time I got for today, friends, but we will, of course, have all those links and the resources mentioned in the show notes below. Now, if you're still trying to figure out what to even do with AI, I highly recommend taking a self-audit of where you're spending the most time in your business. That'll show you exactly where to begin thinking about applying AI, and my free scalability audit will help you do just that. It's linked below. Check it out, and I'll see you in our next episode. Welcome to The Grid. That's a wrap on another episode of the AI Hat Podcast. I hope you gained some valuable insights and actionable strategies to boost your business with AI. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your network. And don't forget to visit theaihat.com for more resources and to connect with me. Until next time, keep innovating, and remember, the future of business is human and it's powered by AI.